Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday morning, progressives, and welcome to the December 27, 2024 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Catch us on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Twitter Stream, and iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com. And always you can catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. There you can get Choose Views, Joan Esposito, Live, Local, and Progressive, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and all of our other shows and interviews. Because as we say, when you check out our heartlandsignal.com digital platform, you will find lots of good stuff there. And you can also definitely share that with your peeps. So welcome to the show this morning, and we're glad to be with you. It's Friday, and we will probably hear the voice of our good friend Karen Byrne from True Blue Politics podcast. So looking forward to having a little bit of a chat with her this morning. And it's the weekend, and you guys have seen the last 2 days. Our weather has been spectacular, given that it's, late December. Spectacular in the sense that, I say that, Devin, and then I go, wait a minute. There's a lot of people who are upset because we don't have 4 inches of snow on the ground, and but there are those of us who recognize that there is climate impact that's out there. Some people don't want to hear the words climate change, but we know that our climate is different than what it used to be. But my point of all this is that I've said this before, and I say it with a little bit of a tongue in cheek. We don't have to shovel the rain, and I can't take credit for that. That's Henry's language. But it's 46 degrees out. What can I tell you? And it's going to remain kind of that way over the weekend and into early next week. It's going to be in the 40s. So as a high. So embrace it as best you can. I'm not. I love the snow when it's fallen and it's on the ground, and it has cleared the streets, and it looks pretty hanging off the trees. Past the years of shoveling snow, are over. But in any event, guys, just be able to enjoy this weekend and get out and do the stuff you want to do. Here's a question for you guys. It's kind of a two-part question. What do you think is, and this is a shout out to my man Kurt Mullet from Hoosier Blue 63. I like to say that smoothly. Kurt Mullet from Hoosier Blue 63. What would you rank as the top 2 states in the country in terms of the longest life expectancy? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Obviously, give us a call, or you can text it in. I want to hear what you guys think are the top 2 states in the country for the longest life expectancy. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. Let's say the top 3 states for the longest life expectancy. That's part 1. Part 2 is, what are the 3 states in the country with the least or the shortest life expectancy? So the top 3 for the longest and the top 3 for the shortest. I'm gonna have 2 little contests. If you get it right, the top 3 states, then I'm going to send you a $25 gift card. That's right. Devin will get your information, and I'll send it out to you. And if you get it right on the shortest 3, there'll be another gift card. So top 3 in terms of longest, and I guess you could say top 3 in terms of shortest. 2 different contests. And I saw this. This is something that, and this will help you get the answers right. So if you search Hoosier Blue 63, you might find the answer. But let's see who knows. And those who, the winners of those each will get a $25 gift card from your boy. And Devin will get your information, and we'll get it sent out to you. So let me hear what you have to say. Top three. 1, 2, 3, longest. And 1, 2, 3, I guess you could say in the reverse order. Who's at the top of the list, top three, and who's at the bottom of the list. And I'll even go as far as saying you don't have to have them in the exact order. You just have to get the top three. Is that fair, Devin? You do it that way? You don't have to get them in the order. If you have the top three, I'll even give you that as a win. So let's see what you guys have to say this morning, and we won't tell you any. We won't say we have a winner until we have a winner at the end of the show, and that's how we'll do it. So there. All right. This morning, that being Friday morning, we have our some of our normal Friday stuff, and one of those things, of course, is Choose Views News for this Friday, December 27, 2024. Deals lure holiday shoppers. Quote, "Don't you just love a bargain?" Sang the beloved jingle for the now once defunct national retail chain. The Christmas tree shops may be gone, but Americans still do love a holiday bargain. Between, of course, November 1st and December 24th, total spending rose nearly 4%, beating last year's increase, according to new data from MasterCard Spending Pulse. Online sales jumped nearly 7%. Deep discounts drove much of the growth, with deal-heavy retailers such as Walmart and TJ Maxx benefiting the most. You get the max for the minimum. How about that for a deal? Department stores, though, didn't see the same boost, with Target, Macy's, Kohl's all dropping their profit forecasts ahead of the holidays. And I've heard a number of people say that they went into some of those stores and it was surprisingly unbusy. Target particularly. So there you go. Low-cost airlines are lifting small cities in terms of their markets. 2 new airlines are looking to take advantage of underserved markets at smaller U.S. airports, per the New York Times. Avelo Airlines and Breeze Airways, which both launched in 2021, offer direct, low-cost routes between cities that have been largely ignored by major carriers. The additional flights are helping to boost business at Tweed New Haven Airport in Connecticut, and for now has a schedule of about 30 departures per day, up from just a few flights 5 years ago. Plus, Breeze and Avelo have brought new jobs and tourism to New Haven. And that's cool. That's good to see, because yes, sometimes the big airlines, they make it difficult to get from a big market to a smaller market. Got to fly into another big market and then drive 2 hours. Continuing claims hit 3-year high. What does that mean? Essentially, the number of Americans receiving unemployment benefits have hit their highest level in more than 3 years, according to the Labor Department data released yesterday. About 1.91 million people filed continuing applications for benefits in the week ending December 14th. That means that they're continuing to apply for and receive, or they're desirous of continuing to receive the benefits that they've already been approved for. That number has been creeping up for much of the year. Initial jobless claims dropped slightly to 219,000 for the week ending December 21st. And the labor market will generally is generally in solid shape, according to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Honda and Nissan, we talked a little bit about this yesterday in terms of mergers. This deal could fall apart. The proposed merger of Honda and Nissan is grabbing the headlines, of course, but it's still far from a done deal, warns the New York Times. The automakers will have to integrate their technologies and their business models. Plus, there are competing egos on both sides to reckon with. Shall I say that again? There are competing egos on both sides to reckon with, says a former Chrysler executive. Then there's the fact that both Nissan and Honda are struggling to compete in China, where sales of electric and hybrid vehicles are exploding. At the same time, former Nissan CEO Carlos Ghosn worries the companies face cost-cutting carnage in this merger. Unfortunately, that's code for there will probably be some jobs that are lost. Netflix had a big day on Christmas Day. They really delivered the gift of football to football fans, successfully streaming 2 NFL games on the holiday. While there were some complaints on social media about picture quality and the muted microphone, the streams generally went smoothly. a relief for fans and Netflix execs alike after the streamer's disastrous Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight last month. Even Devin's like, yeah. Netflix appears to have learned from its mistakes, however, upgrading its servers and production value for Christmas Day games. Viewership, I should say, looked promising, with nearly 1/3 of Netflix viewers from over 200 countries watching at least part of the Chiefs-Steelers game. And let's see, BNY Mellon revives a year-end break. What does that mean? As more businesses give their workers time off between Christmas and New Year, Bank of New York Mellon is telling its employees to take a more relaxed approach in the final weeks of 2024. The bank has brought back a 2-week, quote, recharge period from December 23rd to January 3rd. BNY is urging its employees to concentrate on, quote, core business activities and pause on non-essential activities to spend more time with family. Devin, find out who the CEO of Bank of New York Mellon is for me real quick. The recharge is part of BNY's broader strategy to improve employee benefits, including a higher minimum wage for U.S. workers. What's that?
Robin Vince.
Male, female?
Male.
Okay. I got to do some research on him, because that's pretty spectacular. I mean, the part of that story, when I looked at this last night, that I really like is where he says, let me get this quote right, that they want the employees to concentrate. BNY is urging its employees to concentrate on, quote, core business activities and pause non-essential activities to spend more time with family. That's coming like straight out of the conversation, the thought process of a progressive, if I've ever heard one. So do me a favor, Dev, because you know sometimes I don't hear really well. At the bottom of that, could you write down that person's name for me? I'm going to do a little bit of this. Is when I was talking about, like research and stuff and doing things where you're finding out more about companies and organizations. This is what I was talking about. I'm going to find out a little bit more about this about BNY Mellon, and see, who the people are within that corporation and who the leadership teams are, et cetera, because I want to know a little bit more about them. Thank you, Robin Vince. Okay. Why? Well, if I'm going to give you guys a homework assignment, then I'm going to do my part. I want to find out a little bit more to see what their what their makeup is. What's his background? What has he done? Where'd he go to school? And who are some of the leaders that he has around him? Because that quote, I mean, I got to read that again, because that's a really powerful quote when we talk about companies looking out for their employees. Listen to this again, guys. BNY is urging its employees to concentrate on, quote, core business activities and pause non-essential activities to spend more time with family. That's pretty doggone cool. And that's how it should be. That's how more companies, we would hope, are going to look at their staffing and their employees, top down and bottom up. So there you go, guys. Just a couple of quick items from Choose Views News this morning. And of course, me throwing my hat into the conversation about how do we put time in and effort in to know more about the companies that are a part of our country. And I'm going to do some work in that space to find out more about BNY as soon as I can. So, all right, guys, quick break. 773-763-9278. We'll get your texts. We'll get your calls when we come back. And keep in mind, we have a little contest this morning. Life expectancy. Who are the top 3 states in the country, and who are the shortest? Who are the longest, and the 3 longest, and the 3 shortest? We'll keep that rolling through the show this morning. We'll be right back.
Good morning. You're waking up with Richard Chu.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're live and ready to hear from you. Text or call us now at 773-763-9278. Same number. Simple as that. Let's get the conversation going on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. We have a contest, guys, this Friday, and that is the longest life expectancy. The 3 states. Don't have to get them in order, just have to name the 3, and then the shortest 3 states. Don't have to get them in order, just want to get the shortest 3. We've got the list here. Give us a call. I see some of you have sent texts to our text line, of course, 773-763-9278. couple of you are close, but not quite nailed it. So if you're texting it to us, take a moment and give us a call, and that way we can talk it out, sort of, kind of. But give us a call if you're sending in the text, because I'd like to hear from you as well, and because I want to have some conversation around what those states are. So give us a holler. All right. It is Friday, and that means a weekend is coming up here in Chicago. And I'd like to have you guys be reminded of some things to do and a couple of new things of some of the best events and best things to do this weekend in the good old Windy City. So starting with that, there's still until January 5th, the performance of Les Miserables, Les Mis, as the folks in the know would say. Again, I say this, it's amazing, seen by more than 130 million people worldwide, Devin. That's pretty amazing. One of the most popular musicals of all time, and it's going to be here until January 5th. So make your way downtown to catch that if you can. I'm sure there's probably still tickets available as one of the best musicals of all time. And Navy Pier, guess what? Fireworks are going to be happening. Because why? It's New Year's coming up. We've come through Christmas, and New Year's is next Wednesday. New Year's Eve, of course, being on Tuesday. And we're going to have a live show, by the way, on Monday and Tuesday, just to let you know. So make your way over to Navy Pier for the winter fireworks, which is always fun to enjoy. A big, in the summertime, it's a big deal. But during the holidays, particularly this time, it's always nice to see because the sky is so open and when it's clear like this. Blue Man Group, which is making its final run until January 5th, will of course still be performing up in Lakeview area at the I started just calling it the Blue Man Group Theater because it was really theirs. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Did you ever get a chance to see it? How many times have you seen it? Three? Wow. I think 4 times. Yeah, I got you beaten by one. I've seen it 4 times. And it was always a thing when someone came into town that wasn't from Chicago that wanted to, it was always a great thing to do. So, guys, check out Blue Man Group, another great thing to do here in Chicago. Wicker Park Winter Market Series. That'll be taking place throughout the course of the winter. But it's a nice place to go if you like outdoor markets and becoming kind of a Chicago tradition in some ways in that particular neighborhood here in Chicago. So make your way over there if you want something to do this weekend. And Light Up the Lake is another winter activity here in Chicago that's taking place in Streeterville, Navy Pier, of course, in that area. The outdoor light display is a dazzling program and really something to enjoy. And you can also hop on Navy Pier's, guess what, 200-foot centennial wheel. We won't call it a merry-go-round. We'll call it a centennial wheel. How about that? The Christmas tree is still going to be up in Millennium Park until January 8th. So if you make your way down to the city, or if you're in the city, it's definitely a beautiful thing to go and see. And Zoo Lights taking place up in Lincoln Park until January 5th. So that's another opportunity for you guys to get out and enjoy the holiday season and the displays that are just magnificent in and around the city of Chicago. So, guys, there you go. Some quick things to do this weekend here in Chicago. Papers ruffling, absolutely. Someone said I was like, what's the guy's name? Oh, goodness. Anyhow, make your way out. Do some of the fun things in the city. Enjoy the lights. And particularly with the weather being what it is, it's good. It's a good weekend to be out and a little bit damp, a little bit foggy and overcast, but it's a little bit warmer, so you can appreciate our good weather. I like to call it good weather because it's not brutally cold. So make your way out and do some fun stuff. Still checking on you guys in terms of what you're sending and in terms of the top 3 longest lifespan states and the top 3 or the lowest 3, I should say, lifespan states. So give us a call. We want to hear from you because I want to talk to you about why you think the states that you select and send to us are the states that they are. Really curious about that. So pick up the phone and give us a dial, and we'll chat about it. And the texts are coming in pretty fast, Evan. Can't keep up with them. Let's see what we got here. We got some. I'm not even going to say any of the states because I don't want to tip the answers just yet. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Ah, wow. Someone's gotten really close. I think we may have someone that yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Some good answers, guys. Some really good answers. All right. Well, give us a holler if you've got the answers. We want to hear from you. So we'll put a little sweetener on it potentially if you give us a call. We might throw a book in. Not a book in, but a book in. We might throw a book into the mix if you're right when you give us a call to tell us what you think are the states that have the highest or the longest life expectancy and the ones that have the shortest life expectancy. When we go to the break, after we come back from the break, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Not the contest, but certainly we'll talk about that. But yesterday, I was talking about companies that you want to research, and I gave you guys a homework assignment that doesn't have an end date to it. It's just a homework assignment in terms of keeping you plugged in. And here's one of the things that came my way that is about. It's not so much about companies that you're doing business with, but it kind of is. So what do I mean by that? And there's this list that's growing and being touted as, the list of donors, top donors for Trump's inauguration fund. And so this is yet again another grift. But here are some of the companies that have made the list so far. You may be shocked and maybe not. And it's in alphabetical order at this point that how I've got this put together. Amazon, AT&T, Bank of America, Chartered Communications, Coinbase, Ford, General Motors, Goldman Sachs, Intuit, Stanley Black & Decker, Toyota, Uber, the CEO of Uber, Meta, and the CEO of OpenAI. All are $1 million donors. So I would say that's the floor, $1 million plus donors to Trump's inauguration fund. So that ought to, burn your biscuit a little bit. And see, here's the thing. This is what I want you guys to understand about why I'm saying this about companies that are supporting MAGA. Someone could say, and people did say to me on social media yesterday, Richard, companies supported Biden. There's companies that have backed Biden and Harris. Absolutely, they should, because they're better people. So that's an easy one for me. If someone says, hey, but come on, Chew, they're back. These companies back these guys. You're doggone right, because they're better folks. They've been better for the country. And MAGA wants to play like and pretend like, Trump's going to be better for the country. And he's not. He's just not. And the companies here that I just listed, and this is a short list. I'm waiting to get the additional companies to this list. But, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this. This is something I wanted to lean into today. These companies are fine to do whatever they want to do with their money in terms of who they donate to, just as they're fine to donate to a Democratic administration. However, it's already proving itself out that many of these companies are kind of bending the knee. Not the list of companies that are specifically on this top donors list for the inauguration. But I'm saying that we have the right, as much as these companies, and particularly if CEOs themselves are, that we have the right to hold them to a higher standard, because these companies are endorsing a 34-time convicted felon, twice adjudicated rapist. In other words, what do we call him? 34XCF? That's his new moniker, 34XCF. That's what they're doing. They're endorsing that madness. So that's why we have the responsibility to find out who all these companies are, dig into their backgrounds, dig into the backgrounds of the CEOs and the C-suites of those companies. We have that responsibility. Yes, we do. And if you don't believe me, if you don't agree with me, call me and tell me why we should not do that. I want to know what your thoughts are on that, because it'll help me maybe better talk about it, better in terms of improved talking about it. Let me know why you think we should. Why you don't think we should spend time looking into who these organizations are and what they've done politically and who they've supported politically. I think it's our responsibility. We're spending our money with them. We should know a little bit more about them. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. I blew through this break again. 773-763-9278. We will be right back.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Glad to be with you this morning. And, 34 times 34 XCF. That's pretty cool, 34 XCF. Has some interesting companies that are putting money behind the inauguration. And so for me, I'm curious as to how we want to go forward, not just with these companies, but companies in general that are going to support that are going to support 34 XCF. I want to know why we should continue to spend money with organizations that are going to support someone that has made it clear that they look to harm people rather than help people. Tell me one thing that Donald Trump has done since this election that's been about anything positive. You saw how he was triggered. When I say anything positive, I mean positive for all the country. Let me be clear, because I know that there are MAGA out there. There are those of you who are kind of calling yourselves in the middle or independents that, in your deepest, darkest part of your brain are happy that he got elected. Okay, fine, whatever. But I want to know, tell me one thing that Donald Trump, let's see who has the guts to do this. Tell me one thing that Donald Trump has said since the election that has been positive for all of the country, not just part of the country. I want to know. I bet you no one can call in and say, here's the thing and if you do, great. I want to hear it. That means you've been paying attention. But let me know one thing that Donald Trump has said that's going to be good for all the country. Because you guys saw how triggered he was on Christmas Day. And if we make the assumption or come to the conclusion that he's the one that sent out that text, or not text, but the tweet rather about Crooked Joe and all the other normal great crazy things that he tweets out, that wasn't being in the holiday spirit. That wasn't a message that was inspiring to all of Americans. By contrast, President Biden certainly made it clear that this is a wonderful time, and he wanted happiness for all of Americans, whether they voted for Kamala Harris or not, and she wanted the same thing. So someone prove me wrong. Send it in. I want to see. I want to hear it. Call, tell us, text me, whatever, 773-763-9278. Anything, one thing that Trump has said that's been inspiring since the election. And so when I say to you guys that it's important to look into these companies and find out more about them, because we just kind of go about our days. And let's be honest, one of the biggest areas of support of politicians, particularly those on the right, happens to be sports franchises. Devin's nodding like, yep. So look into your favorite sports team, whether it be in baseball or in football or in basketball, or in hockey, and ask yourself the question, who's behind this organization? Who do they support? And if you're progressive liberal Democrat, you maybe need to check out the team that you've been following to see where they sit when it comes to politicians, locally, regionally, nationally. Seriously. I mean, why should they get, just because they entertain us three different, maybe every night of the week, depending on what the sport is and the time of the year. Does that mean we just genuflect to them and say, "Oh, I'm down with that team because they're my team"? Seriously, I mean, I really. This is about us having seated space and conversation and energy by just kind of going along, and so. The tough thing to do is to ask that question. Is this organization down with the things that I'm really down with? So is the football team, baseball team, basketball team, hockey team, and others, and their ownership and their leadership down with what I'm down with. Is this company that's a top donor to 34X XCF, is that a company that I really want to continue to be down with? Because if it's not, then it's time to do something about it. Because when we can have the conversation all day long about money and politics, but until we let the companies know that our money is the money that you're ultimately using to put into politics, I'm not down with that. Until we make that decision to do that, they're going to keep doing it. I heard something that really caught my ear about the way in which, Uber CEOs look at everybody else. You realize that without the everyday person making the wages that they make, that those companies would not exist because we are a consumer-driven economy. So when you expand that thinking into companies that are donating money or supporting political or politicians and political ideologies that you're not down with, you should take a stand and say, I'm not there anymore. Because if you don't, then they get to kind of willy-nilly go along and support the things that you directly and indirectly don't support. So it's important to talk about these things. It's important to highlight them. And listen, y'all, I know you get busy in your day-to-day activities. I do. That's why I'm that guy that says budget time for these kinds of things. When Vice President Harris talks about getting healed and healing your wounds and getting ready to come back and get recharged and ready to come back and fight, this is going to be part of the fight. If we want to take back, quote unquote, the voice that we so desperately have to have, then we have to start doing some things a little bit differently as individuals. And one of them is where you put your money, where you put your support. I'm an ardent believer of that. And I know that, like I said yesterday, you cannot snatch your hand out of the vice. If you've been, rolling with a certain company for a period of time and maybe you have, some direct reasoning that you have to work with that organization, I get that. Don't misunderstand and think that my head is in the clouds and I don't understand the realities of living. I am not saying that. I'm really not. I'm saying we have to be a little bit more judicious and selective and frankly critical of the organizations that we do spend our money and our time with. We just do. Because if you don't do that, and I have to repeat it this way, if you don't do that, then they get to do the things with your money that you spend with them that may not be congruent with your thinking and your belief system for the future of the country. And that future is not like a year from now, it's tomorrow. It truly is. What's up, Dev?
Forgot my headphones were in my head.
Oh, yeah, I looked at Devin. He gave me that look again, like, oh wait, I didn't say the wrong thing about the holidays. He had that look on his face, and I pay attention to Devin. All right. Before we we'll do calls after the break. So I will wait until after we come back from the break before we grab your calls. But I see you guys are on hold, so stay with us for a few more minutes, and then we'll grab you after the break. Because I want to give you some time to talk. Don't want to rush you through the calls, and that way we can hear everything you have to say. But I want to come back to this point about making sure that you understand who the companies are that you're doing business with, and then you make an adult decision. I'll put it to you this way. There's another way of looking at it. A lot of times, again, this is my whole philosophy or thought about you can't snatch your hand out of the vice. We as a country can't snatch our hands out of the vice of companies that we do business with. Okay? What I am saying is that you have to be more judicious. And let me be perfectly clear. I understand that many of us are in business with certain companies or we have to use their goods and services because there may not be any other options. You're talking to someone or listening to someone who has thought about this and understands it. Okay? If you have a mortgage with XYZ Bank and you look at some of the things that they're doing and you don't like some of the things that they're doing, you can't just snatch your mortgage away from that company. So I literally understand that. Okay? And I made this comment yesterday that, if you don't like Elon Musk, I'm not saying go burn your Tesla. I'm never going to say something stupid like that. I am saying if you're desirous of buying an EV, then maybe look at some other companies. That's what I'm saying. It's about being judicious with the monies and that you have, and that if Mitt Romney can say how did he put this, Devin? Let me get this right. Money is money. He didn't say money is power. He said, gosh darn it. His quote, I don't want to misquote anybody anymore. But basically, I'm going to paraphrase. He was saying that money was it had political power. It had voice. What did he say, Devin? I'm struggling with what he said during his run. And corporations were whatever the phrase was. And y'all know what I'm talking about. And Devin's going to find it. So if that's the case, then let's take him literally. And use it in a way that says I'm going to be more judicious and a little bit more controlling and a little bit more selective with where I spend my money. That's all I'm asking you guys to do. It's to try to give you a tool to feel involved in part of the process. Look at the Fortune 500 companies and ask yourself this question. Or take the time, as the homework assignment has been put out, to just, 10 weeks in 2025. 500 companies, 50 a week, 10 a day. Google those companies and really look into who they are. Go on to Wikipedia and look into who those organizations are and find out a little bit more about them. That's what I'm saying. Because you may be, in fact, you're going to be surprised. And in that surprising that you get, or that, new enlightenment, if you will, you're going to say, okay, I'm still going to roll with this company, because they've done some good. I like the charities that they're donating to and supporting. You may find that out. I'm just saying being empowered with knowledge about who you're who you're doing business with and who you're giving your money to. You may not suddenly say, well, I just don't like that company anymore. You may say, I need to be more aware of how they go about doing what they do in this society that we live in. Okay? So that's the message. And it's an ongoing message, and it's one that can be refined, and it's one that you guys can have control over because you then are a participant in the process. All right, let's take a quick break, Devin. The number is 773-763-9278. Guys, we'll be right back.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views. Thanks for being with us this morning. 773-763-9278. Okay, the quote I was looking for, and thank you for this was text to me, and thank you for sending it. This person's pretty fancy, Devin. Not only did they send the quote in the text, but then they sent a link to when it was said. So that's not bad. All right, the quote from Mitt Romney that I was looking for is, corporations are people, my friend. And when he made that statement, I think it goes back to when he was running for president against, at that time, President Obama. It may have been before that, but it was during that time, irrespective of exactly when. Only quote me on the fact that Mitt Romney said it. 2011. Okay, so it was in the throes of coming up on the 2012 election. The point I'm making is if corporations are people, my friend, then guess what? I want to talk to the people at that corporation about what they're doing when it comes to who they're supporting and why, and what the leadership is doing and why. That's our responsibility. I mean, let me put it to you this way. For those of you who have children, I would hope that let me back up and set this up the right way as I'm looking at my notes. If you have children and they went to college, whether it be a 2-year, JC, 4-year, whatever, I would hope that you didn't just go, oh, yeah, it's XYZ University, and I'm going to send my son or daughter off to that school. I would hope that you did a little bit of research on the school. I would hope that you were able to, and I'm not being a jerk in saying this, that you did the whatever research and checking into on that school before you just sent your child off to that school. And that to me is a hell of a lot more important than a lot of things. Our children. I say our children. I'm an uncle and a great uncle. Not meaning I'm a great uncle, but great in terms of having a grand uncle, whatever it is. The point is, guys, do the research on these firms. Find out who they are, what they've stood behind, what they've stood for. I think that's incredibly important. It's a way of being responsible. It's a way of building information. Someone says something about a company or that they're doing X, Y, Z. You go, yeah, but did you know that they did this? That to me is empowering. And yes, thanks for I'm thanking everybody for the assist that they're giving me this morning. And as I look at my notes, I'm like, I didn't have that. Corporations are people, my friend. Mitt Romney, 2011. Thanks, Devin, and thanks to the individual that sent me the text. And then, of course, that quote was the year after Citizens United was passed in the Supreme Court. All right, so let's grab some calls as we get to the end of the top of the hour. Let's go to our friend Leo in Columbia, South Carolina. Good morning. How are you, Leo? Welcome to the show.
Doing all right, sir. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
I wanted to see if you saw JoJo from Jersey said something this weekend over the holiday that Trump is watching the same list you just watched, basically saying using it as an intimidation tool to say that he's watching companies that are not donating and maybe, just like you said, are not donating the $1 million minimum.
Right.
So, again, going back to an oligarchy kleptocracy, the difference between Trump and Biden is if you donate to him, good, you're donating to democracy, versus if you're donating to Trump, are you donating enough? Are you loyal enough?
Bingo. That's a even clearer way of saying what I was trying to say, and that is, they're going to donate, but are you ultimately donating to someone that's moving the country forward and supporting for a few select people or for everybody? And there's a line in the sand there, clearly. Good point, Leo.
Absolutely. Thanks, sir.
Good man. How was your holiday season going? You staying safe?
I was off for the holidays, so I'm able to stay pretty safe. But, yeah, I mean, it's a mindset. It's a mindset.
Good.
Any call you go into, you're able to tamp it down a little bit and keep it safe.
Good for you. Good for you.
I try to keep it that way.
Well, I'm glad you're well, and it's always good to hear your voice and your perspective. I appreciate you, your contribution to the show, Leo.
Thank you, sir. Love listening.
All right, man. Have a great day. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
In case you guys don't know, Leo has been a supporter of WCPT for a while, both on the family meeting and here with Choose Views. And he's down in Columbia, South Carolina. He's in law enforcement, and I believe his career started as a paramedic. And he made the leap to the other part of serving the public. So keep him in your thoughts, because he's out there on the front lines every day, except when he's on his little vacation time. Good for him. But keep him in your thoughts. When you're sending out good vibes to the universe, that's a person that you should. He's part of our family, so make sure that you include him in your thoughts. That's all. That's what I'm going to say about my man Leo. Let's go to Nancy in Cedar Lake. That must be Cedar Lake, Indiana. Am I right about that or no?
Yes.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to talk about my choice of states with the longest and the shortest lifespan.
You have the answers? So tell us what you got, Nancy. I want to hear.
Well, I basically wanted to tell you. I don't know if I want to tell you the states I have, but I wanted to just mention the reasons that I for my choice. One, I kind of took at the states that were blue versus red states.
Okay, you're right about that.
And then I wanted to take a look at states that might have good medical care, like research hospitals.
Yep.
Where you have access. And then, I don't know, my third one, it kind of went back and forth on the states where they have, where you can have good outdoor activities. I kind of went between, warm states where you can go surfing versus ones where you could go skiing. And,
That's some pretty doggone good logic, because I will share this with you guys. Nancy is a winner of one of the contests. She got the shortest list in terms of shortest life expectancy. So why don't you go ahead and tell us? You didn't get the longest right in terms of what you sent us by text, but you did get the shortest life expectancy. So why don't you tell our audience what you came up with?
Well, I said Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama.
Devin, does that look like it's right according to our list?
Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Winner, winner. No, I knew you had it right, Nancy. So you got the shortest right. So tell us why you think that those three states, and those states would be Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, have the shortest life expectancy of our 50 states in America.
Well, besides the fact that I think they're very red states. They're probably very red because the politicians there, their voter suppression, number one, their poverty, and I really believe that in many cases the politicians there want to keep their people uneducated, and and so that they don't have access, and they also don't have. I don't think, except for some of the states, some of maybe they have some good research hospitals, but to some extent in their bigger cities, I just think that the poverty there is such that they have a hard time digging out.
Well, you're right. I visited each of those three states, Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, because of the familial history in those three states. And the thing I can tell you is that everything you just said is spot on. The politicians that are elected in those three states particularly do everything they can to suppress voting and eliminate people from being part of the voting process. They compromise the people that do get elected into being part of the good old boy network. This is not anecdotal. I've witnessed it, guys. So I'm not speaking from just not liking red states. I'm speaking from what I know from having spent a number of years visiting those three states. The other thing that they also, unfortunately, have in these particular three states is they have really they're, how do I want to say this without sounding insulting? They have spent a lot of time getting people away from the conversation around politics. And it's a mindset that says, we know better than you. And this is maybe tied into the suppression thing. We know better than you, so let us run things. These are three southern good old boy states. They just are. And that leads to a lot of suppression of a lot of things, goods and services, and to Nancy's point, economic opportunities as well. So, yeah, I hate to say it, but you're right.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
So Nancy, Devin's gonna put you on hold and get your information. You're gonna get your phone number, your full name, and your address, so that we can get you a gift card for getting half of the contest right this morning. And we appreciate your call. We appreciate your listening, and of course your contribution to the show. So thank you for being with us this morning, Nancy.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. There you go, guys. That's how we do it here. We make sure that oh, no. Nancy called back. Oh, you got her phone number? Okay. Nancy, we lost you. We're going to give you a call back, and then we're going to make sure we get your information so that we can get you your gift card for knowing, unfortunately, who the shortest states are in terms of life expectancy in America. I know a couple of you guys are on hold. We're going to push you to the next hour because I don't want to rush you through this morning. So stay with us. I see you out there, and we'll get you on the back end just because we gotta hit our brakes today. But so what are the three longest lifespans? A couple of you have gotten 2 out of 3 right in a couple different configurations. Nancy got the shortest right, and she was really close on the longest. But we're gonna make sure to keep that rolling for the rest of the show today to see if someone can get the three states that have the longest lifespan. And I think one of the reasons that you guys haven't gotten it yet is that one of them is one that you wouldn't think would be, right, Devin? Yeah. Right. The 2 of them are. You could probably get those, but the third one people are probably going to not quite get. So we might give you some hints as we get into the second hour. But the number is 773-763-9278. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We'll grab your calls. We'll talk about your texts and all that good stuff. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Okay, let me make sure of something. Which year? Okay, let me see. I think discrepancies in Nancy's winning. Let's have 3 states. So which year considered the stats would be? Okay, all right. Looks like we have a challenge out there. A challenge. Okay, well, my list is pretty accurate. Okay, well, then, okay, so here's how I'm going to do this. Those of you who have issues with, if there's any discrepancies on the list, call in, and if you can bring us some what's the word I'm going to use, some clarification, then you could be a winner for clearing things up. But at this point, Nancy is our winner for the 3 least, the states with the lowest life expectancy. And if you have if you're going to have a challenge to that, then call in with your challenge. All right, that's the only fair way to do it. Let's see. For those who may be watching the video, Devin and I are not having a rewind of a Jane Fonda aerobics class in the studio. We have stiff, sore joints, and we get up during the breaks and we stretch and we walk around. So if you're watching the video, no, we're not having a rewind of a Jane Fonda, an episode of a Jane Fonda class or a Jamie Lee Curtis movie from the 80s. We're just trying to keep our bodies moving and all that good stuff. So we may have, if we were entertaining during the break, then kudos. We're glad that you guys were able to appreciate our entertainment. So let's see. We've got a couple calls that we're going to let Devin get on hold. And then, is that a challenge? No? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to keep it with Nancy. We got time, guys. We got time. And we still have to find who the top 3 states are. The top 3 states. And one of them is a surprise, but maybe not. And I'm going to give you a clue or a hint when we get to the bottom of this hour that will help you sort of coalesce around who those 3 states really are. But for now, we're going to go to our good friend, who other than Karen Byrne from True Blue Politics here in Chicago. Good morning, Karen. Wake up.
Oh, good. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. You know, Richard, when you have a holiday fall right in the middle of the week, and then you have like your entire family over, and sometimes you forget what day it actually is.
Yep.
So my apologies, and I guess I am in holiday mode.
Don't even worry about it. Here's what should make you laugh. All of us are in that space in one way or another, somewhere on the scale of like, okay, it's holiday time. We got family and friends visiting, or we're doing things where we're going to see family. That's the beauty of this time of the year, is being able to get kind of foggy brained because you're so doggone busy dealing with family and friends and all the other things. That's the beauty of the holiday season. And so we got you, girl. Don't even worry about it. I was just laughing. When I saw your text, I was laughing like, okay, we totally understand, so don't feel bad about it. I got to ask you a question, though, in pivoting a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you heard me talking about folks being more involved. And we got being more involved in the conversation around who they're dealing with, which companies are they dealing with, and why people should be more invested in knowing where their money is going and who they're spending their money with. I gave a list of the top donors to Trump's inauguration fund, and Leo from South Carolina called us about how the reporting is that he's looking at who's not contributing as much as he is who's contributing. And so I want to kind of get your thoughts on this homework assignment that I've given to folks about starting now. Take the Fortune 500, break it down in 10 weeks and then down to 5 days a week, and figure out who in the hell you're spending your money with, or who these companies are and what they're doing. What are your thoughts around that, Karen?
Oh, I think that absolutely that is probably the most effective way to protest. And I have been on a few indivisible calls since the fateful day in early November. And that is absolutely one of the suggestions is to use your dollars to protest. And I actually was listening yesterday. I'm trying to think. There's a show on Progressive Talk at 127 Sirius XM, and they were saying the same thing, that there is a whole list of these companies that have, even Facebook, and we have to come up with creative ways that we may not have done in the past just because it made us uncomfortable, and absolutely using our dollars to protest is the way. So what Malcolm Nance is suggesting is on January 20th, have a media blackout. Do not tune in to media. And I believe his suggestion is for a week.
Yeah, he suggested that, and Roland Martin has also been putting that out there as well. I'm sorry, keep going.
It's Facebook. Facebook is contributing as well.
I know.
Doing a social media blackout. So we could do a social media blackout with Facebook. I'm gonna cancel my accounts on Twitter on that day. And then, probably the only place I will be social media wise on that, at all will be on Blue Sky. But even that, I just think that what we need to do is we really need to just check out of it, give ourselves a week, because it's just going to be nothing but nonsensical noise.
Yeah.
And then again, we've spoken about the Goods app, the Goods Unite Us app.
Right.
So, I'm just honestly, without even looking at that list, I'm just going to the Goods Unite Us, and that if I have to spend money, that's where I spend my money. We did zero Christmas present shopping, save for our 2 grandchildren this year. And I just absolutely will not. The grocery stores where I bought my food were stores that donate to Democrats or are completely neutral and don't donate to any political party. So there are ways for us to protest other than hitting the streets, and that may be even more effective. It's just getting enough people to do it. That's the challenge.
Well, that's the second part. The first part is doing the research, and of course, you've said this to me before. The Goods Unite Us app, and a couple people sent that to me yesterday when I brought this up. You guys should. I want everybody that's listening and watching and whatever, anywhere in the country, Goods Unite Us app is a great tool to answer some of the questions that I've been putting out there about, or the homework assignment. It's an assistance, a tool to the homework assignment that I put out there. I'm firmly committed to that belief that we have to know who these companies are, and if we don't, then we can't complain about when those companies do something that we don't like. And you're right. I like at the beginning of your statement or answering my question or comment on this, you said that we have to be creative in the ways in which we go about protesting. We have to be, a little bit different and unique. And that I'm marrying that up, your statement up with mine about we don't have the luxury of not doing this. We have to do it. And if for no other reason, even if you don't go, and as I said, Karen, if you can't, we can't, not everybody could yank, or neither should anybody yank their hand out of the vice. But they have to be mindful of the companies that they're doing business with so that you can make adjustments. And like Kurt Herner's mother has done, and other people have sent to me, they've said, I'm not going to order pizza from this place anymore. I'm not going to do this, that, or the other. If they have visible signs, literal signs that they are Trump supporters, then go someplace else. Try to find someplace else to go. And because it empowers the person, then they don't have to throw something at the television or be further frustrated when they see that these yahoos are continually spending our money, essentially. When you think about it, they're spending our money on. We get upset about what the government does with our taxes. What about being upset with corporations and what they do with the money that we spend on their goods and services? Take back y'all's power. Please take it back. And this is a way to do it. I mean, your thoughts again on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. And, you know, I mean, and it is, you know, noteworthy that, you know, when you say, you know, taking our money, using our money, and then they're going ahead and they're donating to people that we do not align with our worldview, value-wise, even. Because it's, again, we've said it a million times, it's not about politics. This is personal. My political beliefs, the way I vote, the people that I vote for, they line up with my worldview. And I mean, you know, just my values for helping the needy, for showing up for people, for being a good ally, for rights, and protections for people who have not received rights and protections fully. And people that have been diminished to being, you know, not full people, second-class citizens. So for me, that is absolutely something that I don't want those people getting my money. And by the same token, you know, what those very same people want to do is steal all of our money by way of either privatization or draining Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That is our money. And that is something that the media has done a terrible job with pointing out. What they're doing, they get distracted by all of this stuff with with Panama and Greenland and, you know, all of the nonsensical things that Donald Trump and the Republican Party keeps, you know, parroting. And the lies that they keep spewing, and they focus on that, and they're not even focusing on the fact that they're not only using our money where we spend it, but then they're also trying to use that money to take away our money, more of our money. That is our flipping money.
It is, and that's we get so caught up in what the politicians are doing, and that's part of where we are. We know that, but I go back to something I said months ago, when this conversation around Albertsons and Kroger's came about, and they talked with one of the C-suite people that said, yeah, when it comes to pricing, you know, we did raise our prices during COVID because of supply and demand, and no, we really haven't brought them back down now that things have changed. Right. I mean, that's code for we kept the numbers high, we made more money, and Karen, here's the real question. How many companies out there have done the same thing? They just haven't been outed yet. Right. And the conversation around prices and inflation. How many companies are in that space? We just don't know about it. And that's part of the reason why I've said, folks, start your little homework project. It will empower you to go, damn, I didn't know that. Now, granted, that same company, and I'm not so up in the sky with my thinking that I don't recognize that some of those same companies may donate to your favorite charities. I get that, right? But you should know that and stop. We have to, even as progressives that have shows and have podcasts and all the rest, we have to expand our energy toward the businesses that are funding many of the problems, and I'll call them problems, that we have with our politicians. Because we aren't saying to those businesses, hey, wait a minute, hold on a second. You guys have to stop doing what you're doing over here. And, you know, that's I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I've lost my brain on this one, but.
No, you haven't. And I think, you know, and that's what we need to be with in all aspects. We have to be ruthless with how we message, how we speak to people, how we spend our money. And yeah, there might be some collateral damage. I mean, you know, there is going to be collateral damage. We didn't do this. We have to know that we did not do this, though. You have to be willing to say, like, look, we understand that we might be hurting some of our favorite charities by boycotting. But you know what? That is not our responsibility. If the corporation chooses that they're not going to give to that favorite charity of ours, then that's on them. That is not on us. We have to fight differently this time around, because the way we've been doing it, I mean, you know, like it's not for nothing, but we have to think differently now. We have to speak differently. We have to interact with one another in a different way. We have to show up for one another in different ways.
Yeah.
And that is what I am actually going into the new year really reflecting on. And I'm writing my Substack, and I'm going to be writing a Substack about how we show up on a larger scale. But how do we, like, starting out at the basic individual level within our families, both immediate and broader, our friend groups, our community. How do we show up? And are we going to, show up for the people, the people that do not vote the way we vote? Are we going to show up? And if we show up, how are we going to show up? What conversations are we willing to have with those people? Are we willing to be ruthless and pointing out every piece of bad legislation, every piece of bad news, whether it's gas prices, grocery prices, whatever it is? You pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I just spent this much at the grocery store. Your guy did this.
Yeah, it's that. It's that literal. It's just like that. And let me repeat that for the folks, for those who may not have gotten it. Literally, this is the power that we all have. If you are making car payments on a vehicle, or if you are making mortgage payments, or if you rent, you rent an apartment and from an organization, and you find out that there's something that they're doing that you don't like in this social, political, and economic times that we're headed into that are going to be crazy, you owe it to yourself to pick up the phone and say, I know about what your organization is doing on the other side of the glitzy, you're this wonderful company, and I got something to say about it. And that we've not done, I shouldn't say we've not done that. Protesting and boycotting have been a part of, the American fabric in the past. It damped down quite a bit in the 80s, without a doubt. However, we saw a resurgence of it when Trump was elected in 2016, going into 17, and the protests that took place. I'm saying now, and Karen's saying the same thing but slightly different words, you owe it to yourself to be willing to have knowledge about organizations and to be able to call them and say, like she just said, I just walked out of your corporation's grocery store, and this is what I got to say about what your CEO or some of your C-suite people are doing. That's a beautiful way of putting it, Karen.
Yeah, no, I think that it is high time that we take a different approach at how we fight and how we show up in this time. So, yeah.
And it might be more.
It
may be more impactful than taking to the streets, and certainly maybe safer. And I know Malcolm Nance has talked about, taking to the streets this time around may not be the most prudent way of going forward, because they're looking for reasons to attack people. And so so how about this one, Karen? If you, and I don't mean this in a negative way to anybody, if you may have been a keyboard warrior in the past, and I'm not saying that to be nasty, maybe this time be a keyboard and phone warrior to reach out to companies by sending them a letter, a physical letter, or sending them an email when they say contact us. When you go to a website and then you go across the top line, it's got about us and our mission and all those things, and then you get to the far right, the one says it's always, that's the last one. You notice that it's always one that's the furthest to the right that says contact us. Well, start contacting companies, guys. That's a responsibility that we should embrace. Doggone it, I am going to reach out to these companies and let them know. And maybe that's a way to galvanize. Like Karen, many of you guys may or may not know this. Karen created a walking group here in the Chicagoland area right after the election to help folks that she knows that need to get out and mentally and physically get some of this garbage off of them. Well, maybe create a writing group. And I'm not saying Karen, I'm saying us collectively or any individual in the country that's listening to our show. Create a writing group to corporations about their behavior. And I know that there's already in motion groups that do things like this, but I'm talking about those of you who might be sitting in your home going, what the hell am I going to do as we go forward? Here's a tool. Do your homework assignment on these on organizations and then come up with a strategy. And if you want me to help you, listen, guys, I'm good at building platforms and systems to do things. I am more than happy, and I'm sure Karen is too, to talk with anybody about how to create a little action plan to reach out to businesses that you're frustrated with based on their behavior when it comes to where we're going to be. Yep. Because listen, there was a piece that was posted that says never obey in advance, and that was on Midas Touch. And you saw this. Donald Trump's FCC commissioner is now going after Disney, ABC, and using the ABC $15 million settlement as pretext for why they need to be regulated further. Why? Because they bent the knee in advance. And so you guys, we all have to not bend the knee. We can't go to Mar-a-Lago and start going to, so not just after the politicians, but let's go after the corporations that are supporting and actually conducting their own bad behavior. Yep. So there you go. I had to say that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, no, and I do. I think it's a call to action for all of us, and I think that's an excellent idea. And I mean, even if and I'm not saying for that week after the installation, but certainly on social media, even that is an effective way to reach out to these corporations that have Facebook pages and things like that. You can go on there and post that stuff too. But yeah, I do think that it would be a good thing to, give them, have maybe, map out carve out a time in your day where it's like you can pick up the phone and let these people know how you feel about what they're doing.
Because all I'm trying to say to everybody is don't allow yourself to feel powerless. Don't let that be the case right now. And this is something that's not going to. It might cost you a few dollars here and there in terms of if you're sending something in the mail or this, that, or the other. But it won't. It might cost you a little bit of time. But that's time better spent than being frustrated and getting out. Right. The walking group that Karen's created was about getting people together and getting them out to do something physical that will have some mental and spiritual benefit. And some conversation along the way, or not. I haven't been part of it, but I know how Karen rolls, and I know how she's created something that's substantive for folks. I'm saying if you're sitting in your home and you're frustrated about where we're headed, this is an opportunity for you to take control of that. The homework assignment is an easy thing. You can do it from I sound like a commercial. You can do it from the comfort of your home, but you can. And then this is what I'm going to guarantee everybody. If you start to do the research on the top 500 or the Fortune 500 companies in America, and you do 10 a week for whatever, 50 a week, whatever your breakdown is for 10 weeks, 5 days, however you decide to do it, right. I guarantee you what you're going to get from that is information that you did not know about that organization, some good, some not so good, and in terms of political and social. And even economic, that will allow you to go, okay, let me do a little bit more digging. And then you'll go down the positive rabbit hole of finding out more information about an organization where you can now be a participant in the fix as we go forward. What say you, Karen?
Yeah, I say that's a great idea. And I think that, maybe do a one letter writing campaign, flood, let's say Facebook today, okay? Flood the mailing address at Facebook with letters, Everybody write letters to Facebook this week the week of the inauguration and say we are not okay with you guys bending the knee. I'm you got my head, the wheels spinning right now. So I think that would be a great thing, and but have a call to action, one specific call to action. Today we call. Here's the number. This is what you need to say. And have a little, short little script, or today we're going to write letters. Everybody write letters and send it to this address, and really just kind of take that initiative.
And if you guys need some support or just thought process in that, send me an email. Email me at richard@wcpt820.com. I promise you, I will be there to support you in this effort and give you some additional ways of reaching out to people. Hell, I'll sit down and write a letter with you. I have no shame. Shame's not the right word. My ego's not that big, because I want to see people be involved. I want to see people be able to get themselves self-actuated and do something. And I think this is an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Karen, here's the visual.
Yeah, I think
when you said that about the letters, here's a visual. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, dear. It's the court scene in the movie Miracle on 34th Street. Remember that scene when all those letters came barreling in to the courtroom you remember that scene in the movie with Natalie, okay? That's what we want for these companies, to get that just overwhelming amount of outreach from everyday citizens. I know it sounds corny, guys, but that's the opportunity that we have.
Well, we have to take our power back, and, we need to make sure that, these corporations, these companies know who is in charge, and it is the consumers, and that we are going to be out there telling our friends and family, posting on social media. We are going to continue to write letters and make phone calls, flood your lines, jam up the works, Here I'm thinking, just thinking off the top of my head, all the customer service lines and just jam them up.
Well, listen, I got to tell you something. You're right. Exactly. We got to hit this break, but we've had a couple people that have sent me text messages this morning that want to connect with you in terms of your walking group and some of your other stuff. Okay. So I'll get that information. I'll share it with you indirectly, so that I'm not giving your information out that way. But
all right.
Listen, my friend, happy Friday, happy weekend to you. I'm glad we were able to chop it up this morning.
You too. and Happy New Year to everybody. If we don't speak, Happy New Year, and take a breath. Yeah. Everybody take a breath.
There you go. All right,
be
Karen.
Be good to yourselves and be good to your community. So, all right. Love you guys.
Be well. Talk to you soon.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye now. All right, quick break. Come back. We got calls. We're going to grab your calls right after the break. 773-763-9278. We'll be right back, guys.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Yeah, the text line is lit up, and I'm glad that you guys are reaching out, and hopefully I'm able to keep pace with you as much as possible. So thank you. I'm going to just do it this way. I'm going to yell out the prefix, and that way they'll know that I'm getting them. Thank you to 331. Thank you to 708. Thank you to 847-773-224. You guys are awesome. Thank you for those. I don't want to mention your name unless you actually give me your name out of respect, and I'm sure it's not going to give out your phone number. So thank you. All right, let's go to April here in Chicago. April, good morning and welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning to you, and let me say I am definitely not an early riser. But
well, what you doing up so early then? You should be sleeping.
I quite agree, but I had to do some work. But let me tell you that the one or two times, no, it's been a little bit more than that, but that I've heard your voice. You have such a calming and reassuring voice, and I really wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
And it's no, thank you, especially at this time. I have to say I have checked out since what? Oh my goodness, my mind is gone. since the election.
Right.
And I am so unsettled inside, and it's a feeling of anxiousness. I'm not going to say anxiety, but of anxiousness, wanting to do something, needing to do something, not knowing what to do. And I just have this overwhelming feeling of this nation is like mass hypnosis or something, and you just want to, from the rooftop, scream and wake people up, because this is going to affect not just us personally, but generations to come.
Yeah.
Potentially. And I was so elated to hear your comments today and your topics of discussion, especially with the young lady that you just had the conversation with, that gives us something to do.
Yeah.
But it sort of surprises me that that never came to mind, because wasn't that what apartheid was about? The companies and doing that kind of a protest?
In part, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so this does something to do, but I feel like, if people are going to take hold of this, yes, it's definitely going to cost us something, but it is so important and well-deserving. But it is going to cross over, in my opinion. If you're going to commit, you got to commit, because I firmly believe it's going to go over into the sports world.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be in the political world. It's going to be in the consumer world. And if we're going to commit, we really need to commit. And I agree with her. Was it Nancy? Is that right?
It was Karen. You mean just before? It was Karen. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Karen, that it's I guess the biggest hurdle is getting enough people involved to make an impact. But where we personally can make an effectual change, I think this is wonderful. But if we're going to be concerned, and that's the absolute only thing I can credit this human for, is that he really made the majority politically aware,
mm-hmm.
where I think a lot of people weren't, or it was, half. I don't want to swear, half done, where people were knowledgeable and really concerned about the political realm and how impactful it is on our every single day lives. But if we're going to be concerned, and we're now concerned about this person becoming president, then just like his followers and the media was like, well, he said so-and-so, and people, his followers, were coming and saying, well, what he really meant. And then the media and some other people were like, well, that's not what he meant. He meant what he said, not how you're trying to change it. And if people really believe that, and if the reporters really believe that, then yes, we're able to do what you're saying, be more mindful of where we're spending our dollars. But why aren't we across the board showing the concern that we have? Because I firmly do not believe the election was fair. And you see these reports that he had been saying, I don't need your votes, I already have your votes, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have never in my lifetime seen the map that red. To me, it's just unbelievable. And I do believe, because money talks, I do believe the surge and the support that Kamala and Tim had gotten was real. I do believe that. Yes, people can change their mind when they go in the voting booth and it's private and all that kind of thing. But I have a hard time believing that happened, but yet they spent their money.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, April. Couple of kudos to you. First of all, the fact that you have kind of you're re-engaging a little bit, that takes courage, and kudos to you for that. Hell, I know that the night of the election and the day after, I was worn out. So I understand where you're coming from in terms of having to unplug a little bit. And I've actually advocated that some of us, and I say us, not you, us, needed to do that. And in various and different ways, unplug a little bit, and then and then ask, what does this mean to me? What does it mean to me to fight for the things that I believe in? David Jolly talked about the election was not lost based on our ideas, and I agree with him on that. I've said it a number of times. So kudos to you for understanding you needed to take a break and get your head right, get your spirit right, and then be ready to come back. Because I made a note. I always say to myself, don't make notes, listen to what someone's saying. And in this case, I was trying to listening to what you were saying, but I made a couple of notes. And the first one is, remember your family's history and your familial history. You stand on, like so many of us, stand on the shoulders of people who had a fight, maybe bigger than the one that we have ourselves. We remember that, April. You stand on those shoulders every single day, as do so many of us. And let that help to reinvigorate your spirit as we go forward and as you go forward. And remember the things that those ancestors had to deal with to make it through at the time that they were alive. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I definitely do.
So that's part one. And the second thing is, now that you've kind of, getting your head right and you're feeling like, all right, I'm going to be in this fight. It's like the business and professional coach Mel Robbins says, if you can take action, you don't have a problem. And you can take action, and which is why I've been leaning into know who these companies are that are spending your money. If you do business with them, they're literally spending your money. And be willing to say, that's unacceptable. And be willing to push back. And that's a way that you can have day-to-day control and not be perpetually frustrated, because now you got something to do that you've self-appointed and designed as your way of pushing back. And I believe in all my heart that if we collectively do that, if we collectively are very judicious about how and where we spend our dollars, that it will have impact. And we don't have to be sitting around frustrated and angry and PO'd. We can take action and do something. And that's what I'm sort of rallying everybody to do as best I can. And that's going to be part of my conversations and shows as we go into 2025 is, what are we taking action on? What are we fighting on? Because we know that they're going to take, as my father used to say, they're going to try to run us through the grease, as my dad used to say. But we also know we're going to fight back. And we know that if we collectively, we're going to do it.
Because me and others, widely known, have checked out, and because we were so shocked and surprised by the election and the amount of people that supported him, where do the fear? And I would assume I'm not alone. So when you want to check in, who do you go to? Where do you go to? How do you? Because the fear is, am I going to the right person? Am I going to the right individual, the right organization, the right group that feel the same way I do? So I'm nervous about speaking out for repercussions. In search of.
I do, and
that I can buy.
And here's what I can tell you: you can start here. You can start here. And I promise you this, that I will keep my word to be as much of a voice and leadership in this space, and with the tools that I have and the people that I talk to, be able to provide you with as vetted as possible groups and organizations that you can be a part of. Because it may be something that I've said before, April, and I'm going to hit this break in a second, but it may be just reaching out to local organizations that are doing something that's charitable in a space that's important to you. That may be your way of getting involved. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
but how can you get in touch with you? Because I do want word of mouth.
Just email me. You can email me at richard@wcpt820.com. richard@wcpt820.com. That's how you can send me an email. And you can always call the show, and Devin will get your information if need be.
As if I get up early.
Yeah, I know, but set your alarm for 7:30, and that way you don't have to get up that early. But just send me an email and go to the Heartland Signal. Go to the heartlandsignal.com website. Google me at WCPT. You can find me and reply or reach out, and I'll do my part to keep you in the mix. I promise you that. Okay.
heartlandsignal.com. weekdays.com. Will do. God bless you.
All right.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, April. Have a great weekend, and let's talk soon.
Will do.
All right.
Take care.
You too. Bye now. Let's go to Victor. We'll go through this break and we'll wrap up. Hey, Victor, welcome to the show. Good morning from the northwest corner of our great country. How you doing, man?
How do you do, Mr. Chu?
Pretty
We're
well.
all wet out there.
You're a little wet out there today. What's going on? You got rain happening? What's going on?
Oh, my God. Everything's turning green, including me. But I like to say, Karen, first off, Karen is really our Wonder Woman.
Yep.
And she's going to take out her magic lariat, and she's going to round up these Trump-supporting CEOs and with her magic lariat and put their heads, the heads of these corporations and put them in a duffel bag, first off. And second, Donald Trump, the puppet masters have put a muzzle on Donald Trump, and all he can talk about now is Panama Canal and Greenland, and that's about it. He's been giving away too many secrets on how he's going to turn America into a dictatorship. And, in fact, Elon Musk, and Vivek Ramaswamy, two of Trump's new members in his administration, came out with a speech that really made that got him in hot water and made everyone upset. They said that they want to hire people from India and China and Indonesia to work in the tech industry instead of training Americans here in this country to fill those positions.
Yep.
The MAGA crowd was screaming at him. And, we're going to have a race war, but it won't be between black and white people. It's going to be between Hispanic people and Donald Trump's National Guard or his ICE, probably 50,000 new employed ICE agents. And the reason is it's not going to be like it was last time when he was able to take these poor refugees and their family that walked 1,000 miles and stuff them in cages and separate them. What we're going to have is undocumented immigrants that have been here for generations. They have family here, and they have homes, they have cars, they're paying taxes, they work here, they own businesses. They are not going to stand still and have ICE agents or National Guard take away their family members and put them in some sort of facility. These people, I know them. They're going to fight.
Yeah.
And all I got to say is National Guard or whoever Donald Trump employs to round up these people, they better be wearing a lot of bulletproof armor because these Mexicans and Hispanics and Latinos, they're armed to the teeth, and they're locked and loaded right now, baby.
Well, we don't want to.
It's going to be a race war.
We don't want to be, and I know you're not saying this, Victor, and I'm just going to sort of further the conversation. We're not advocating, and I don't think Victor's advocating. We're just saying this could very well be the net result. And going back to what you said about the sort of the Asian community war in terms of tech, the tech community. Yeah, that's a story that they're trying to keep quiet right now in terms of what's happening there with people that are overstaying their visas. But I talked about this a year plus ago on the family meeting. I've talked about it on this show that they're not paying attention to this other thing that's happening, and I appreciate you having the courage to mention it. But that is the white tech bros are starting to get a little bit their feathers ruffled about the number of the Asian bros, tech bros, and there's going to be a battle there.
Point,
I'm not crazy.
You're right on point. You're right on point, Richard. And so you're right. You and Karen are completely correct. The consumer needs to vote with their pocketbook, and that means boycott all these Trump-supporting corporations. And even though I don't believe boycotts are a perfect answer, they will send the message loud and clear.
That's right.
So you're right, Richard. Keep up the great work, and hopefully there won't be all this violence and bloodshed when Donald Trump sends out the troops to collect or separate families, Hispanic families that are there for generations. But
we're just saying, be prepared. Yeah, be prepared because it's something that we certainly may be witnessing. So, Victor, as always, my man, thank you for the call and the contribution to the show. I'm going to grab another call before we wrap up today. Have a good weekend, okay?
Ciao, Mr. Chu.
You got it, man. All right. Adios, Victor. Let's go real quickly. Let's go to Jim here in Chicago. Hey, Jim, welcome to the show. We're going to wrap up. What's happening, man? What's going on?
I got two things. I know we're wrapping up, but I'll just go with one.
What?
I think there's a great opportunity for the clergy to protect the vulnerable, the immigrants, and go ahead and let this a-hole arrest the clergy. And it would be great PR for the clergy and religion in general to do what they're supposed to do, is take care of the vulnerable. And I think that's an outstanding way of doing this.
Jim, that's such a good point. The least among us, that's kind of where some of that's coming from. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know what you're saying. What was the second thing, Jim? You said you had two things. Go for it.
I was just surrounded by a bunch of MAGA just a few minutes ago, and they're telling me how, because they know I'm progressive, and they're telling me about Trump's tax cuts and all that. I go, all you socialists are the same. He goes, what do you mean? I go, so he's giving Social Security to the fire department, the police department, and service members that didn't pay into it. I said, that's socialist. You guys are a bunch of socialists. So I just threw it back at him.
My man. That's how you fight it, Jim. You come to the fight ready with facts
and sarcasm, but the truth.
There it is. Right? There it is, Jim. I mean, listen.
Different socialism. Look at Bernie with corporate socialism, but they're not smart enough to listen to me.
Did y'all hear what Jim said? Jim, repeat that situation that you just said. You were surrounded by a group of MAGA folks. Say that one more time.
Oh, they were saying how Trump's going to cut taxes for us middle class. I'm in construction, and how he's going to cut taxes on tips and stuff like that. And I said, be careful what you ask for, first of all. And then I went into the socialism thing.
Yeah. Good on you, man. Yeah. Good on you. Yeah. Well, listen, I
know some really, really great clergy people, and it would be great, and they would be the first to sit in jail for the vulnerable. Yeah.
It would be. That's another group that needs to be rallied in the right direction. And I'm taking a bold step in saying that, but I live on the third rail, and I'm kind of like you, Jim. You want to be prepared to come back to them when people say some garbage. So kudos to you, my man.
Peaceful civil disobedience works. Look at MLK, right?
There it is. Jim, listen, man, I'm hoping you're having a safe holiday weekend. Be safe. Call us again. We appreciate your contribution to the show, and make it a good weekend, okay?
You got it. Don't forget Union Yes.
Yes, sir. Union Yes. All right. That's right. Devin, let's see if we can squeeze in this one little clip. Guys, we have a clip that, as we wrap up today's show, and I know we've been running it at a fast pace this last hour, but I came across this clip, and I'll tell you what it is, and then we'll talk about it as we wrap up. This is about a man who saw a young kid who was out playing his trumpet, and he decided to help him with a gift. Go for it.
My husband always taking care of the folks' kids that's in need when it comes to a good cause. Go home. Merry Christmas.
Bro, you can go home and enjoy your day, bro.
You can go home, sweetheart. Right? Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
yes,
we're
serious.
Enjoy your day, bro.
Merry Christmas, sweetheart.
And
yes.
keep the 100 too. Go home and enjoy your day. I brought you another controller so your brother can have one.
Thank you so much. I'm probably sweaty. Thank you.
Okay, so what was that? It's hard to hear all of it, but it's a clip of a young man who's been out playing his trumpet to raise money to get a game box. I don't know them well enough. It's PS something or other, but PS5. Thank you, Devin. And this couple, and I'm not sure what city it's in. I think it may have been down in Georgia. I'm not sure exactly, but the point of this is, this couple decided that they were going to go out and buy him this gift so that he wouldn't have to be out. He was playing his trumpet in the median to raise money to get this gift, to get this particular game. Teenage boy, probably 15 years old. and a young man, I should say. And this couple decided to hook him up. So why did I want to play that clip today at the end of the show? Is that's what the Spirit is all about. That's what the meaning of the season should be all about. And we as progressives, we take the lead in that space. Let me remind you who you are as a progressive. So April, I know that you've been sad, but you can come out now and fight. And to anybody else out there, this is what we do. We give from the heart to the people that we love and know and people that we don't even know. Do not let these punks take this away from us. I'm certainly not going to let them rob our spirit. Not going to let them, do that to us. And so for that couple to find their way back to that median and get this young man a gift that he was out there working for says that we can allow that good spirit in us to come out to help those around us. And yeah, we got some tough fights in front of us. But don't let the fight or don't let the circumstances prevent you from doing the thing that you know that can benefit someone else. I'll leave you with that this weekend. As always, it's great to be with you. Take a deep breath. Make your life count. We'll see you next Monday.